There we go. Uh-oh. All right. Now here we go. Hit it.
Thanks for joining us for Generations Unite, our weekly discussion about increasing everyday spirituality from the perspective of different generations. We hope our conversations and meditations will help increase forgiveness, spiritual healing, prosperity, and living a life of freedom and self-expression. Now it's time for Generations Unite.
Hi, everybody. We're doing our monthly podcast of Generations Unite. It's where me, Paul, old guy, have a discussion with Megan, young person, the future. You're looking at the future and the past, all in one. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Dad. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I don't know how many weeks it's been since we've done this podcast, but even in this short time frame since we've done the last podcast, Gen Z is trending.
They're really making a name for themselves, aren't they?
They really are. And I'm feeling old.
So we're going to need Gen Z to help us out. If you're a Gen Z, give us a call at 913-735-0060. We dare you.
Yeah.
And we want you to be part of our show, because now it used to be an old person and a young person. Now it's old people.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're not even in your single one-room apartment anymore with your tarpon behind you. You have look at that. Look at that background, everybody. Light, natural light.
Yeah, I have a ceiling fan, you could see.
Wow.
How old is that? Old.
Pretty cool. So, what's been going on? I know you moved. Did you do some more moving last weekend?
Yes. Jess's stuff came in last week. So.
Have you got everything set up the way you want it?
Nope. Not even close.
Yeah.
I did end up getting a new bookshelf, which I have so many books that are in boxes now that I'm just like waiting for this bookshelf. Do you know what you're going to do with the bookshelf that I gave you?
It's here. I'll show you. Oh, wait.
Oh.
Wrong camera, sorry.
Oh, nice.
See it back there?
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Cool.
You want it?
No.
Back? Okay. What was that?
Oh, sorry. That was just a video that accidentally started, but we're good.
All right, so that's where your bookshelf is if you want it back. So we talk about generations, different generational things, and I think I know I have a couple stories to talk about that actually they're almost a month old now, but I still think they're relevant.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think with all the different changes going on, it really is showing generations. Now, I heard another radio program right here on KCTK Radio. It was the Tom Goley Show. I'm sure you're a big fan. But he was talking that he wonders why do generation or millennials particularly walk around and say, well, I'm a millennial, so ... Because when I think he's a Generation X. That's me, right? I'm a Gen X. He said we never did that. We were just like, yeah, whatever.
Oh, so he wants to know why we mention it?
Yeah, why is it so much part of their identity?
Well, I think it's mostly because I feel like it's not Gen X's fault whatsoever, but
Okay.
it is because of the way that boomers talk about it and have used it as an insult. I think it started with, I can't remember, I don't know what year this was, but there was like a Time, like the cover of Time magazine, and it said like the me generation
Hmm.
that had some hot take about us being the most selfish generation yet.
Oh,
And
I see.
that's I think what really started it. And I should look that up, but I'm assuming that's probably like 2010 or something.
Mm.
Um, the me generation. So I think that it's honestly, it's it starts with boomers being like, you millennials, that like we are like reclaiming it or like mentioning it.
Yeah. So it's probably just because how large it is as well.
Yeah, and
No.
I would guess too, even just like with the internet, there's probably just more resources or people just see it more
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I was going to bring up was this story, and the title of the story is Not Letting Age Hold Them Back. Generation Z is protesting, fighting racial injustice.
Mm-hmm.
Marching, protesting, and standing up for social injustices.
Begs the question, what is it about Generation Z that's making them speak out more than their much older counterparts?
Yeah, really.
News 5's Amanda Van Allen explains.
They may be young, but they're mighty.
Whoa, wait a second. Did you hear what she just said?
They may be young, but they're mighty.
They said, no, she said, they may be young. They
Oh,
may be young. I want you to hear that again because,
Speak out more than their much older counterparts. News 5's Amanda Van Allen explains.
They may be young, but they're
okay. Yeah, that is weird.
I find the younger generation do that with the G's at the end of their.
Do I do that?
No, but have you noticed it?
Yeah, I think I have. It doesn't stand out to me as much,
You know
but
what? I just thought of something here.
mhm.
As I have upgraded my studio,
Mhm.
we can do this instead. So sorry about that. Yeah, this K sound at the end of a G, I don't get it.
I'll listen for that more. I wonder if that's like an LA thing or New York or some weird.
Okay, that's a commercial, but we'll just kind of waste time up until that point, because I can share it to you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can see it.
I'll just say that I have a couple TikToks to show you. Another comment about TikTok, and just a couple other comments about Generation Z.
Okay, well, let's get this story going here.
Mm-hmm.
What is
It may be young.
it that's making them speak?
And we've seen children and young adults across the country marching, protesting, and standing up for social injustices.
Begs the question, what is it about Generation Z that's making them speak out more than their much older?
Okay, wait a second. There's another thing. You don't stand up for social injustices.
You stand up
If
for
someone did a
justice.
social injustice, you're not going to stand up for it. You're going to stand up for justice.
Yeah.
All right.
older counterparts. News 5's Amanda Van Allen explains.
About the Valhalla explains.
they may be young.
Okay, sorry. That may be another podcast called Races Unite,
Yeah,
because
that'd be interesting.
I don't really think there is a black language and a white language. But this guy certainly talks like a white guy.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Well, I feel like that's how journalists are trained to like try and speak.
Did
Like,
they
have you
teach
ever-
that in journalism school?
Yeah. Well, have you ever heard of code switching?
No. What's that?
Okay. I had to learn about that in sociology, and it's just the whole idea that a lot of Black people feel like they have to change the way that they talk whenever they are speaking to like a white audience. And they will like switch from like when they're talking to their family, they'll speak in a different way, and then they'll like answer the phone and be like, "Hello?" I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like that. I want to learn from them. So
Okay.
Anyway, so you know what I mean? I don't want them to do that in front of me. I want you to talk like you normally would talk, like you feel comfortable
Yeah.
talking. That's
Yeah.
that's why I like throwing out the F word every once in a while. Okay, so here we go.
They may be young, but
Young.
they're mighty. Generation Z is protesting across the country and close to home.
It's time to step up. It's time to make sure that y'all know we're not backing down anymore. We're tired of it.
Brendan Nichols is a 23-year-old rising senior and football player at West Liberty University. He was at Tuesday's protest in Cleveland.
I'm a big black man, and that is as simple as I can put it. Y'all know there's a target on my back.
Nichols says he's fighting for his dreams of one day being drafted into the NFL, a dream he fears could be silenced.
They could be having a bad day and pull me over and everything could go left.
That this generation feels relatively disenfranchised by the current systems that are in place.
Corey C. Miller is an associate professor at Wright State University in Dayton. She has been studying Generation Z for years. That group includes everyone from fourth graders to 25-year-olds.
And there's a sense of frustration that's been building with this generation. And
Do you think it's where there's nothing on our walls? If you
Yeah,
look
it
at
looks
me right
like
now,
that.
you see the on air and you see KCTK. Behind you, you see a door and window.
Yeah. Well, I still need to put things on my walls.
Okay.
And this idea of working within the systems to try to make changes, like lobbying legislators who
She's
are
all-
50
she's all
years
like
older
this.
than they are, is not working.
C. Miller says these young people, which are part of the most diverse generation ever, are finding ways to work outside of the current systems to seek change.
Not only do they have the fervor and the enthusiasm and the excitement and the persistence
Right,
and the
fervor.
wherewithal to want to make a difference, they also have the tools and the technology that are going to leverage their ability to do so in ways like we've never seen any generation do.
And although Gen Z is pretty independent, Nichols says they are open to advice from other generations.
They
We
are.
listen more than you think we listen, but not enough. So just talk to
Oh.
us. We're going to take in what we take in, and if it makes sense about what's going on in the world, we're going to listen.
Amanda Van Allen, News 5.
Above the valid.
And we've seen children and young adults across the
Looks like. So what do you think? There's a generation story for us all to.
I definitely do think that there is a theme where Gen Z is more likely to want to shatter the system than to work within it.
You think that's even more than millennials?
Yeah, even more.
Why is that?
Well, that actually reminds me of something that I was realizing is that I feel like Gen Z is even bigger into cancel culture than millennials. And I've been noticing some things recently where a bunch of people are being called out for racist things they did 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Gen Z is like, I can't believe anybody ever supported them. How dare they?
Mm-hmm.
And millennials are like, remember 10 years ago when we all thought that was okay though?
Yeah.
Like even just saying words like ghetto or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm realizing that it makes me feel old because it reminds me of how you have said things like that of like, oh, like millennial or younger generations have to be patient and realize like how change like takes a while and stuff. But I just really think that I'm happy and like I think it's a good thing that people talk about racism so much more openly now.
Yeah.
But we have to remember, like, even 10 years ago, we were not talking about it openly.
Right.
Like, there was a lot of people that are being called out for, like, doing blackface when all they thought were, oh, I just thought that I was being Nicki Minaj or something. Like, they weren't, like, trying to mock black people.
Right.
But there wasn't, like, social media wasn't the same, where it's not like nowadays for you to do blackface you would have to like literally ignore like all of the messages on social media where people are talking about that is wrong. Like people talk about that, like it's hard to avoid. Like people share like posts about like social justice where like I don't know, like there's just so much more ignorance, and like part of it is I'm biased because I'm interested in it and I've educated myself, but I feel like I'm realizing that Gen Z doesn't realize, I guess, how ignorant millennials were when they first got a hold of the internet
Yeah.
and they didn't know, and they put things out there. Or
I
go
think
ahead.
what you said there makes a lot of sense. That
Yeah.
younger generations don't realize how ignorant
Hmm.
the old generations used to be.
Yeah,
And
and
there's no excuse for the continuing of it.
yes.
But like, did Jenna Marbles, did she tell everyone herself, or did someone go back and find her doing an imitation? Probably, I don't know Jenna Marbles that well, but probably a bad imitation of Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. And what's funny actually with her is that she was accused of doing blackface, and she showed the picture, and she was like, actually, in 2010, I thought it was cool to be really tan, and I like wore orange foundation. But like, what I was thinking about too, though, is like Jenna Marbles and Shane Dawson, like
Mhm.
two of the most original YouTubers.
Right. They kind of
I was-
invented the YouTube.
Yeah.
They're
I was
pioneers in
thinking,
it.
about how like back then, like 2008, 2010, and I was like, I was trying to get on. I was getting on the internet around then, and you told me, like, don't put like where you live, don't put any private information.
Right.
Like, obviously, we knew like don't put nudes on the internet. Like, we like knew. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
We weren't told like, oh, like don't be racist on the internet, or like
Right.
we weren't told like, hey, like we didn't understand like how much things can come back to like bite us. Where
Mhm.
I feel like people are like dragging like Jenna Marbles and Shane Dawson to the point where they're like, well, you have an influence, so you should take responsibility for that. But at the time, they were not celebrities. They did not have managers. They did not have PR people. Nobody regarded
they
them
were
as
kids,
celebrities. Yeah, they didn't know that they need to have a responsibility because nobody took social media that seriously. You know?
I also don't quite understand that. I don't know. I have ranted about this conversation last 3 podcasts I've done. Is that we just don't have any discernment anymore. We clearly, why is there Confederate generals with statues?
Yeah.
Should be gone. Okay?
Yeah.
But that's not the same as Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
who's a slave owner and bad because of it, but did other things.
Yeah.
Putting a blackface on and running around and acting a fool to make fun of race, to me, is different from doing a celebrity impression of somebody. So somehow we've made these rules to where you cannot do a celebrity impression of a black person.
Yeah, and I feel like
it's like, but they're famous celebrities and they're people.
yeah, and I feel like we shouldn't ever do blackface ever, obviously, but like I feel like you have to take into consideration like the person's intent whenever they are apologizing for it.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I mean,
what do you-
I never learned that in school.
What do you think about Fred Armisen? There has
Oh.
a controversy around him, but he played Obama on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, is that a blackface?
That's honestly a good point because
no.
I feel like honestly when we go look back at history, that is going to be a thing. And honestly, Fred Armisen for playing women in Portlandia.
Uh-huh.
See, I don't know. That's the thing is that I was actually thinking, though, about how one of my favorite movies has always been 16 Candles. And now I can't even watch it anymore. I think it's too racist and sexist. But, like, at the time, it was hilarious. And even, like, in the 2000s, I feel like I could watch it. Now people look at it and they're like, literally the whole butt of the joke is that this guy's Asian and that's it. Like, there's no other.
Exactly. And I am exactly, I turned 16 when that came out. Okay. That's exactly my generation.
Did you find it racist?
I love that movie. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And now I watch it and I think that's tremendously racist.
Yeah.
Not funny. And so are you going to be mad at me for laughing at it in the past, or are you going to say, wow, we've grown, isn't that great that we know
Yeah.
this isn't as funny as it should have been?
Yeah. And
You know
another
what I
thing,
mean?
yeah, exactly. And another thing I was thinking too is that artists, and especially like comedians, they like reflect culture. That's like what they do.
Yes.
They know what people like in culture and they reflect it. And I don't see the point in trying to tear down public figures when we could just talk about the fact that in culture, we've moved on from that and have like a collective conversation.
Right.
Because if someone was popular and had millions of followers and did a racist joke, they did it because they knew that people would find it funny. And also, there were millions of people who found it funny.
Right. And our discernment tells us this.
Mm-hmm.
Try and think of who would be an example of, let's say, Jenna Marbles.
Mm-hmm.
So she did the imitation of Nicki Minaj, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know her name. And it was, we should not make a statue for her for doing that. You know what I mean? So this
Yeah.
oh, you've grown and you understand, to me, is what we should be doing. But with that said, we're not going to give the generals of the Confederacy a benefit of the doubt by giving them a statue.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
yeah.
Get
And
rid of the
another,
statue, and if there's a family line that says, wow, he shouldn't have done that, and he did one thing in his life, that's fine. We don't need to glorify it. We don't need to glorify them for their sins, but we need to be forgiving of sins.
absolutely. And, you know, like Jenna Marbles and Shane Dawson both went back and deleted like so many different videos and like apologized for it. And like, what was I going to say though? Another thing too, though, that is an important point is I feel like I can forgive people. But another point I always see on social media too is that if you're a white person, you can't necessarily accept the apology because it never was against you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if you're a white person, you can't tell a black person to accept the apology because they have the right to not.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like I can, like, I could personally think, oh, I think this person's a good person. But I can't necessarily, like, tell, like, black people that were offended by the joke that they are a good person.
Okay, so you need to check out Bill Maher's new rules from last week. He says that the thing that has been culturally appropriated the most lately has been that white people have been offended for black people.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And we have to stop doing that. And then he did a quote from people of Willow Smith saying it was ridiculous that people were doing that. Willow Smith.
Yeah.
Whipping her hair back and forth. And then she has enough wisdom to say, you know, stop trying to be my protector and everything. So,
and she's older now too, which I can't believe because I actually listen to her music and it's like alternative.
Oh my gosh. Can you get me a copy of Fireball? Because that group in the past was awesome.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wait, can I actually share? This is kind of related, but can I share a thread that I put on Twitter?
That was my story about Gen Z, but go ahead and share your thing now.
So this is what I said on Twitter that is kind of related to that. Is I said, racism is structural. People aren't born racist. They're socialized to be racist. Also us. This white person did this racist thing unknowingly with no malicious intent, only ignorance and negligence. They are racist to their core. And I said, I'm just a white person. I know I have no room to talk, but I'd much rather be spending my time shattering the systems of oppression than trying to prove that a certain individual is racist deep down to their core.
Right.
I don't believe that anybody is racist down to their core. Racism has been normalized in our society. It requires education and structural change to dismantle. And that's why white people need to be anti-racist in order to fight racism. It's not enough to just mean well. There's a line between canceling racist people from your personal sphere and finding joy in watching them burn at the stake publicly. Especially white people. I find it twisted when white people enjoy watching other white people get burned at the stake. But when white people feel joy when someone burns at the stake, I question your morals. To me, it looks like you're thinking, thank God that wasn't me. Can't you use your privilege in a more productive way to abolish the police system and replace it with a rehabilitation system? This also means we have to get rid of our own punitive nature in our public life. Tell people what to do better. Call them out. Cancel them from your lives or your feeds. Stop giving racist attention. But the short-lived pleasure that you gain from dogpiling onto their misery is not worth it. We have other shit to do. I feel like, or go ahead.
No, that was good. It reminded me of something I saw that they did a poll, and majority of racists don't think they're racist, or something along those lines. The people who think they're the less racist are the most racist.
Yeah.
So-
And I feel like this.
To me, at first you think, well, that doesn't make sense. No, it makes sense because you're self-reflective. And in a time of this, we got the generational change. We're in a pandemic. We have protest. It's time to be self-reflective, everybody, and realize that, what's my attitudes? How can I change? But too much that we see is what you're saying. Burn them at the stake. They're the problem, not me.
And I feel like Gen Z is more likely, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like they're more likely to want to burn at the stake because they didn't grow up in a world where any of that was okay, really. And when they didn't have the internet at their fingertips, to where I feel like they find it lazy. They might say, just Google it. But a lot of people, they don't know what to Google, or honestly, people Google racism and it says to be prejudiced against another race. And I heard that Merriam-Webster was like going to change the definition or something, because a lot of people say that that's not a good enough definition because it doesn't include like the structural aspect. But like, yeah, I feel like millennials are a lot more like, okay, let's literally change the system, guys. We're like very radical. But I feel like Gen Z is like very much social media activism and like trying to outdo each other, and that could just be their age.
Yeah, right. Now Gen X and definitely boomers. The fear from them is just, I mean, they're just, we can't defund the police. Well, they're not really going to defund it. Just have some discernment on what they mean by that. Try to understand what that means.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible marketing. It's Democratic Party way of doing things, leftist way of coming up with, not using ways to bring people together. But anyway, in my generation, it's just so, anytime, if you see someone's really racist and want to tell you that their flag is their heritage, all that is fear.
Yeah.
And the fear of getting old, and the fear of dying, and the fear of not being remembered in your life, and the fear of not having an impact.
Yeah.
Now, I am of the belief that you're going to die. You're not going to have an impact. You're not going to remember what happens. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're going to have as much non-impact as everyone else.
I have a question.
So define your life for yourself and the people that are around it that you love, and that's it. You keep chasing that you want to, I'm part of this great heritage. No, you're not. No one's going to remember you.
Yeah. I
It's
have a
not
question.
harsh, but I think it sounds harsh, but it's more realistic and it's more empowering because you get to decide what you want to do with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a question. When you were talking about how it's like we all need to be self-reflective right now, how do you think that Gen X responds to that? Like, do you feel like they're open to that in general?
No, I don't think they're open to that at all.
What do you think is the Gen X reaction?
The Gen X reaction is, well, I had good schools. I had a job. Won't they get a job? And Gen X could be even worse than the other older generations because we're the ones that say, I have a black friend because we grew up with black people.
Yeah, that's true.
So in a way, we don't, my father, there was no black people in his neighborhood. It was segregated when he was in the 50s. Well, in the 70s, 80s, it wasn't.
Yeah.
As if those lines, okay, racism over, okay. And so
Yeah.
it's almost like we don't get it as much. It's like we don't understand. No, there's still systematic racism that occurs, and we need to understand our point of view, our privilege, and then see what we can do. But they also get really defensive. White privilege. I work for everything I got. Okay, yes,
Yeah.
you did. I get it.
It's interesting
The point
because
is, the point of knowing about white privilege is knowing the empathy to see someone else's plight and understanding what you went through compared to theirs. That's it. That's all that is. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, I realize that I feel like for okay, let me know if this sounds accurate.
Mhm.
It seems like for boomers, they think, well, I'm not racist, or that's not needed because back in my day, I went to school with all white people, and now that's not a thing. Black people can get anything that we can get.
Mhm.
Whereas for Gen X, it's like, oh no, I didn't grow up with hate in my heart. I grew up next to them, but then you're like less aware of the resource difference.
Yes.
But then I feel like for me as millennials, I mean, I remember I only had a few Black people that I went to elementary school with, but by the time in high school, I feel like I was very much like, I don't see color or something,
Mhm.
which obviously is like not true. But
Right.
I had to learn that in sociology that is like not the way to look at it.
Mhm.
I don't know, like, because I kind of relate to you where it's like, well, I grew up with like Black friends.
Yeah.
I don't have any hate in my heart, but like I didn't realize, like, even like looking back, it's like I got to go to all of these advanced classes, and I'm thinking about how you told me ever since I was like in kindergarten that I was going to college one day.
Mhm.
Like not everybody has parents that are telling them about college at a young age, you know?
Yeah, and say the phrase hate in your heart. I don't know anybody
Yeah.
that has hate in their heart towards another race.
Yeah, that's I
But
think
what I do know
Yeah.
of a lot of people who have not shown empathy to other people who are different from them
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
their skin color or because of their
Yeah.
differences. And
Mhm.
that's a little more subtle. And that's a little
Yeah.
more harder for people to understand, because this disgusting people with their Confederate flags and their torches. I mean, everyone can disagree with that.
Yeah.
That's fine, but we need to move. We know that's bad.
Yeah.
Well, we say we know it's bad, but we have a president who's a white nationalist. You know what I mean? So, but
Yeah.
we just know we can do better, or not even we know we can do better. Everyone should think we should try to do better. That's it.
Yeah, it's like people are defensive of like, well, I am not doing anything wrong, as opposed to like, well, have you
Right.
like been empathetic towards someone else like that's different? Another thing too is that I've been seeing on Twitter a lot. You're familiar with Breonna Taylor, the
Yeah.
Black woman that died. I've been seeing that it's kind of trending where people are using the phrase arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor,
Yeah.
but they're using it as like a meme, and they're sharing it with like GIFs and like random things. And I've seen actually millennials call them out and say, this is not a joke.
Mhm.
You kids need to stop memeing this. So I find that really interesting because I feel like, I don't know if it's just because of the pandemic and all the protests, but it's like suddenly there's like a societal problem where it's like the first time Gen Z's old enough to like speak up about it and act like they know.
Yeah.
Will like talk as though they know things. And so there's all this fighting I see where like millennials don't think it's okay to meme a serious problem.
Mhm.
And Gen Z is like, well, I've been memeing everything ever since I was like 10.
Yeah. Their language.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that I don't know why this reminded me. I think this is a generational thing.
Mm-hmm.
There continues to be protest.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
there is a bill in Congress that passed the House that is police reform.
Mm-hmm.
And it has no chokeholds. It gets rid of no warrant invasions or searches, whatever happened with that situation you're
Yeah.
mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
And it sits there in the Senate because of Mitch McConnell.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I see is going on, is that people who care about this stuff are still protesting. That's fine. But what they need to also do is get on the phone and call their senator. Like, I don't mean like call and say, this is not what I mean. Okay.
Hello,
Yeah.
Senator? Yeah, hi. I'm a concerned citizen, and I hope you're for this.
What I mean is every 5 seconds,
Vote for it. Vote for it.
I mean, just harass them nonstop. The ring just never stops. That's what I wish the protesters would do now.
Wait, so as someone that is a former senator, does that work?
Yeah, it works. It works. It affects people, and it will really show the impact. I don't know if it'll make it positive, but right now it's being ignored. You need to go right now. You need to go after the people who are making the decision to know how many people care about it, as opposed to them watching on TV that in Seattle there's 2 streets with no cops. You know what I mean? They need to call every senator every day. Get up and call. Make 100 calls to every senator. Every protester needs to make a call to every senator. Non-freaking stop.
Do you have to call for someone that represents you?
No. I mean, ideally, when elected officials want to listen to the people that they represent, but this should be a protest of harassment to them. This should be.
Yeah.
We're not going to stop till you listen to us.
It's like it's almost like playing into their fear of not being reelected.
That's exactly right. And you think, what a protest is that you are shaking up, and I want to say harassing, but I really don't mean it that way. But oh heck, now the plaza can't sell things. Now I can't go to the plaza. Okay, so you're inconveniencing people. Because they're not listening to you. So you're doing something dramatic. Well, do something dramatic to those senators who need to take up this bill. And it could be, even if they're not going to vote for it, I say Mitch McConnell needs to have that phone ringing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where he can't even think straight because he hears that ring. Yay!
Yeah. I've never called anyone, and I think it's because I felt like I have like Cleaver representing me or something. But like, this is bad of me to not know, but does Josh Hawley represent me right now?
No.
He's your U.S. senator, but I don't think he does a good job at it.
But like, that's someone I could call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you as a concerned citizen may want to call. That's fine. I'm talking about from a protest point of view.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm way off. I'm way off generation.
Can I share a couple TikToks with you?
Yeah, go to that. Sorry, folks. I get wound up sometimes.
Can you disable or can you enable me to share my screen?
Okay, sure. How do I do that? Share. Multiple participants can share simultaneously.
Also, one thing I'll add, I don't have the video up, but you remember, and like, maybe you don't, but like, millennials had like their rap dances, like Soulja Boy, they had Walk It Out, they had Lean With It, Rock With It. I don't know if you remember.
Unfortunately, I do remember that.
But like Walk It Out, they like literally tell you what the dance is in the song.
Yeah.
Apparently there was like Gen Z like taking like Walk It Out and Lean With It, Rock With It and making their own TikTok dances. And millennials are like on there being like, no, honey, you don't know how to do it right. And like, so that's a whole other thing going on.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious because it just shows that, millennials are now the ones acting like they're so much older.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like you're using an ad blocker, Megan.
Yeah. Well, let's start with this.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Okay, here we go.
This is like a Gen Zer making fun of millennials.
Okay.
What is going on? God damn it.
What's going on?
It's just like loading.
It says, yes, I'm a millennial. Hashtag Hillary 2016.
God damn it. Why is it doing this?
Why is it?
I hear it now.
If you have an opinion over any of the stuff that we've talked about, you can give us a call 913-735-0060. Wonder why it's not coming up, Meg.
Hold on, I'm just going to refresh this page and go to the other TikTok.
Okay. TikTok, TikTok.
This is another like someone making fun of millennials. NYU class of 2014, writer, wine drinker, doggo lover, coffee obsessed, Hufflepuff, hashtag I'm with her. We are the daughters of the witches you couldn't burn.
Yeah, what's that mean? That-
That's it.
What's that? The other one had this thing about the witches you can't burn. What's that mean?
I think that they're making fun of like millennials' brand of feminism.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. You don't have to listen to the music.
Oh, I want to hear it if we can. Here we go. Yes, I'm a millennial. Harry Potter, Plant Mom, gentrification, female CEOs, daughters of witches you could burn. You couldn't burn.
I think, okay, so Gen Z likes making fun of millennials for liking Harry Potter, and also for voting for Hillary, because I think they're making fun of the idea that we thought we were feminists because we voted for Hillary. Like, oh, solved feminism. Like,
okay.
And also, like, I'm a plant mom. I don't know why, like, talking about drinking coffee, like the whole idea of like girl boss, it's like a brand of feminism where it's like girls can also run businesses. And then like she says, I love female CEOs. I feel like Gen Z just hates capitalism. So they like don't even want to participate. And also like they don't
what do you think of that as a older generation? What do you think of that? You're older than them. What do you think when you see that? What's your immediate feeling when you see that?
Well, I will say that whenever in college, whenever I read Karl Marx, the ideas sound great.
No. I don't mean that. I mean, what's your immediate gut feeling when you see those TikToks of those younger people making fun of your generation?
I mean, it just makes me think, okay, so it's millennial to drink coffee? Like, it's a thing. Like, they're always, like, making fun of, like, millennials to their coffee. I don't know.
I know what it makes you think.
What do you think?
Because I've watched it for many years. You goddamn punk. You don't know what you're talking about. Why don't you live a few years? Why do you make fun of me? You don't even know. You weren't even there. You didn't even know
to
what
be
I
honest,
do.
it is sort of
You
like,
look
oh,
Harry
good
Potter
one.
too, you jerk.
It is sort of just like, okay, good one. You got me for voting for Hillary.
Right,
What
right.
would you have done?
What would you have done? Right.
Like, come on. I voted.
Yo, you little punk. Like, you would have gone back and you would have known, oh, Hillary isn't even good. Shut up. You don't know.
Also, you know what? Like, I did not expect to get emotional during it because I like didn't love Hillary, but whenever I saw Hillary accept the nomination, I got emotional because I had never seen a woman do that before. And
no one ever did.
No one did. And that is a win for feminism. And I do think still, I still think that a lot of the hatred of her about Hillary is sexist. Like,
there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. And here's the other thing too. I think that those generations are also making fun because millennials get so much attention.
Yeah.
They're the little brother generation to the older brother. Oh, you think you're so cool? Shut up, little brother. Shut up.
Yeah, kind of.
Unfortunate, probably unfortunate for them. Their generation is they're going to have to deal with it because just like my generation and baby boomers, I mean, they're just baby boomers are big and the millennials are big. I don't know how big Gen Zs are. I don't think they're as big of a generation.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be dominant.
I also think, another thing about Gen Z is that they did not post their awkward phase on social media. Like, they have been able to watch beauty tutorials. They know how to angle themselves so that they look cute. It's like crazy. Like, when you look at middle schoolers that are Gen Z, they look like high schoolers. So actually, another thing I saw is that apparently Kellyanne Conway's daughter is on TikTok and bashing her mom constantly and saying, like, fuck Trump.
Well, you know who the leader of the Lincoln Project is? You know Lincoln Project?
Mm-mm.
It's the group of the Republicans that are doing these great ads against Trump. It's George Conway. It's Kellyanne Conway's husband. He hates Trump. Follow him on Twitter. It's delightful.
Oh, wait, but is Kellyanne Conway still work for Trump?
Yeah.
Well,
could you
daughter
marriage?
No, and the daughter is literally posting like Black Lives Matter like constantly.
Look at George Conway on Twitter.
Yeah.
You would never. It's amazing how what a critic he's the biggest critic of the president.
So he probably knows more.
He does. So let's take a quick break and then let's do our Am I a Jerk when we get back. Okay. Ready for that?
Well, yeah.
Be right back.
Rossati's Pizza in Overland Park. We've been here since 1995. We're strictly a carry-out delivery pizzeria and Italian catering. We make everything in-house, from our dough to our pizza sauce, grate our own cheese. We do make authentic Chicago-style deep dishes and also Chicago stuffed pizzas. We hand-roll every pizza to order and then sauce it and top it. We do offer pizza by the slice from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. 7 days a week, we always offer our 5 basic choices of pepperoni, cheese, Italian sausage, classic combo, and meat classic. And on Wednesday through Friday, we have 8 choices of slices to choose from. It's a very keep it simple setup here. Slices are walk in, tell us what you want, boom, you're out the door within 5 minutes.
That's been really convenient. You don't have to plan ahead to get this kind of food. It tastes really good and it's worth coming just for the one.
Our location here is about 80% delivery and 20% carry out. You know, you can order over the phone. We do have online ordering available at rosati'sop.com, as well as just carry out, walk in, order at the counter. There's no minimum delivery. We deliver everything that's on the menu. Slices are only available for carry out, but we do handle small and large deliveries daily. For office orders, people would often call a day ahead for catering for lasagnas and our large catering pastas and salads that we offer. But we can handle it on the spot the day ahead too. Normally an hour's notice is all we need to get you pizza for 25 to 50 people. We are a full Italian caterer. Any Italian catering you would like, we can make it here in-house. We can do events from 15 people to 1,000 people. We can get it done. We've been voted Casey's best pizza somewhere almost every year since 1998. The main thing about our pizza is how fresh it is. We actually make the dough daily and roll it out to order. Sauces are made daily, and just the care we put into making every pizza special.
This is Chris from Past Week Next Week with Chris and Paul. Listen to us every weekday at 9 a.m. and our live show on Sundays at 10 a.m. right here on KCTK Radio, personality-driven radio.
Do you see that doggy in the shelter?
Hi, I'm Buddy, the adorable puppy you adopted from the Humane Society.
Meow. I'm Whiskers, a fluffy kitty, just waiting for someone to love me.
When you adopt a pet, we hope your new furry friend will become a cherished member of your family. And as Buddy and Whiskers will tell you, the key to success is following the rules to love by.
Woof, that's right. Please give me food, water, and exercise every day. To stay healthy, I need the same kind of things you need.
Talk to me. I like hearing your voice.
You're my best friend. Please don't stay mad at me or lock me up as punishment. Remember, I'm probably going to live 10 to 15 years, so take care of me when I get old.
One day you'll need someone to take care of you, too.
A message from the Montgomery County Humane Society. Visit www.mchumane.org for the complete rules to love by.
Be your best friend for life.
Welcome back to Generations Unite. I had to take a break, but thanks for joining on. When I just played a commercial for adopting a dog, and our dogs went crazy, Megan.
They know?
I guess so. Because they're barking too much. I want to adopt them out. Will you take them?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Now we like to play a game called "Am I a Jerk?"
Mm-hmm.
It's a variation of "Am I the Asshole?" from the Reddit.
Is this a generational thing that you don't want to say a bad word?
No, because I just have the song.
Oh, okay.
You're a jerk. You're a jerk.
I guess if I can get myself a good I'm an asshole song, I can do it.
No, I like the jerk song.
Yeah, okay. So this is where, and the idea is that we read these things, we try to determine if the person is a jerk from a different point of view, each of us. So are you ready for the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Or ready for mine? You have one?
Yeah.
All right.
I haven't read this all the way, but I feel
we'll figure it out.
Relate. I feel like we might relate.
Am I the jerk for not getting back on social media to show my support towards protesters in the U.S. after being off social media for the beginning of the pandemic? I initially got off social media right when the pandemic hit here in the States, knowing full well that once we were going to be quarantined, I'd be doing nothing but wasting time on it. As time has progressed, the pandemic has been detrimental to my life in many ways. I feel that social media will always share a false sense of what other people are doing that I should be doing in my spare time. Since the recent protests have been going about police violence, many of my friends have been showing their support by publicly sharing their opinions on there from what I've been told. I recently got told a lot of people were upset with me for not getting back on social media for the event. Displaying my support for following their example. I absolutely support what's going on, but I don't feel I need to go on social media to let others know that I stand with them. Am I a jerk?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Why not? This person's not showing support.
I don't think that showing support on social media is what is going to change things. I think not being racist and like fighting for like the system of racism to be gone will change more things. And ultimately, nobody has to go on social media. Like I would say, like, I would hope that they're keeping up with the news at least somewhat and educating themselves. But I don't know.
Megan? I agree with you. That's not a jerk because of that. Because you're not on social media showing support. Now, if you were supposed to show up to the protest because you told your friends you're going to be there and you didn't, you're a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I do want to add something here. Social media has really messed us up. This person thinks that the way they show support by stuff is being on social media. It's like their mind is like not, it doesn't deal with regular people. And then, in fact, this is what it says in here. I recently got told a lot of people were upset with me for not getting back on social media. Nobody noticed you were gone. Okay? And nobody was upset with you. If someone told you that, they're lying to you.
I don't know. Some people are crazy.
Would you ever go tell someone, hey, a lot of us are talking that you're not on social media? No, that is that's
crazy, but
that's what social media does. It's like a delusional thing about your own life. You think, oh, everyone cares what I'm doing. And
I mean, I agree with you,
it.
but I also feel like people are crazy. So I don't know.
Okay, good. Then I guess this person's crazy because no one cares what you're doing, dude. They really don't care. They love you. They support you. They don't care.
I have even worried myself though before, as like, I feel like whenever, like in the 2016 election, I was all over social media being like, don't vote for Trump, don't vote for Trump, like make sure you're voting no matter what. And it just left me exhausted. And I also felt like, looking back, that I was kind of a performative activist in a way of like, there was definitely a part of me that wanted to be like, look at me, I'm such a good person. Now, that wasn't like the only thing.
Right.
But like
that's what
now
it's about.
I'm very like conscious of, I don't want to post anything just to look like a good person. I only want to post it if I think it's like a new information.
You know what I find myself posting a lot? I post a lot of stuff to save it for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of almost like a diary of some sort, a journal of some sort.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's just like news that you would share, like about the mayor, like the KC mayor saying that you have to wear face masks now. Like, I'll like share something like that. But like I've worried though before of like, now that I'm not like as overt about my activism on social media, are people not going to know like how radical I am? I don't know.
They're not going to know, and they're not going to care.
Okay, I hope so.
I mean,
I just don't want to be. I don't want to be lumped in the wrong category, and younger people judge people based on that.
Well, they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm saying is, social media is not. I mean, you're at this point in social media, you're talking to what they say, singing to the choir.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to sing to the choir that much. It's exhausting.
Well, and if you do, you're not changing hearts and minds. You only get change hearts and minds by interacting with people and listening to them and trying to care about what they have to say.
I feel like I have already scared like Trump supporters away by now, like years ago. Like I don't think that I'm Facebook friends with anyone like that really anymore.
The Trump supporters I know and love, I don't know that they're Trump supporters, and we don't talk about it. Is why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't want to talk to me either.
Yeah.
About that, but we'll talk about other things. Then again, I don't talk to anybody. I'm in a quarantine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jeez.
What am I supposed
let's
to do?
deal with the pandemic. Like let people deal with the pandemic and their mental health in the way that they want to.
Right. Okay. What do you have?
I'm very curious what you're going to think about this one. Mm-hmm. Am I a jerk for not paying for my daughter's wedding?
Ooh.
My husband and I started saving for my daughter's college fund since she was born. We both worked really hard for our money and accumulated a lot for her. She ended up getting a scholarship to cover most of college, so we had $20,000 left. We offered to give it to her at the time, and she said that she'd rather keep it for when she gets married. And we agreed. That was years ago. About 4 years ago, my daughter came out as bisexual and started dating a girl.
Okay.
This shocked us.
Wonder why you're talking to me about this.
I know, right? This shocked us a lot because we never saw that as her type. My husband and I were really upset because we loved the idea of her having a husband, a family, grandchildren. We thought that this was just a phase.
Mm-hmm.
But 4 years later, they're still together, and they got engaged last month.
Okay.
They came over to visit to do some wedding planning. She got her journal and it had the finances that they put aside for the wedding, as well as $20K from mom and dad. I saw this and I told her that we were planning on using the $20K for renovations now. She questioned us and said, and were upfront and said that we had agreed for her to use that money under the assumption that she was marrying a man. Her girlfriend got very upset and started calling us homophobic. My daughter just sat there letting her go off at us. Then my daughter said that money was mine. I had it planned out to use toward the wedding. Well, no, it was our money that we saved for a specific use. She left in a huff and told us to never speak to her again. I think that she's being ungrateful, but my other daughter just turned on us and said that we are terrible parents. I'm not homophobic. I respect same-sex couples. This is just not what I wanted for my daughter.
You're a jerk. I know. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. I know. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. I know. You're a jerk. You're a jerk.
Okay, there's so many problems here, okay?
Yeah.
Here's why you're a jerk. Let me just give you the top level of why this person's a jerk. What's it say, the person's name? I didn't see if
it doesn't.
I want to address them directly, okay?
Yeah.
Would that be okay if I do that?
Yeah, it doesn't have a name.
Okay. This is why you're a jerk. You promised her money, $20,000 for a wedding, and then you didn't deliver it. You should have never promised that. No. That's the number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Second, if I can say, second is, you got to get over this. It's not what I wanted for my daughter. I want so many things for my daughters, and I've wanted them the whole way they grow up. That's just how parents are. But you got to separate the idea of what is it for me versus what's for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yes, you just, the thing I worry about the most for my daughters is I want life to be easy for them, financially, emotionally. And from my generation's point of view, and this could be my bigoted point of view, it just seems as though it's the easiest thing to assimilate in the community that I have dealt with is man and woman relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that's what I would hope for, but that's all my stuff. That's all comes from my point of view, not what they want to do, and not what's best for them. And it just makes me sick if you think about it for a second. Would you rather your daughter be with someone they love, or okay, here's your $20,000, you're with a man who I hate?
Yeah, and I guess to me,
what I mean?
it seems hypocritical to say that she supports same-sex couples when she clearly doesn't view it as a real wedding or a real marriage.
Exactly. And she sees it lower than the other thing. And it's like you're disappointed because your expectations are different. But that's
it's
life.
also manipulative.
Life happens all the time when you're disappointed. You can be disappointed. I mean, my father died. I'm disappointed by that. You know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. It's life. And you can just deal with your disappointment and make sure that you're still have a relationship with your kids. She's wasting her relationship with her daughter because of that. That's a terrible thing, I think.
Yeah, and it's manipulative to like drop that bomb, especially in front of the other partner. Like, because that's almost like, are you trying to break them up for your needs? Like, how would you feel if that is what you did or something? Like,
I think it'd be so. This is very sad to me because it is this young lady trying to figure out her way in the world, found someone she likes, been there for 4 years, and then they're getting married and she's excited. She remembers the conversation with her mom and dad.
Yeah.
She wrote it down in a little book, Money from Mom and Dad. Oh, I love my mom and dad. I feel so accepted in life. It still feels so good. And then that bombshell happens.
Yeah.
That had to hurt.
Yeah. Well, I looked, there's a comment from the person and said, wow, I wasn't expecting such a response. Thank you for the lovely messages threatening me and calling me a homophobe. I have rethought my stance. I am trying to be more understanding of my daughter. However, I know to never go on this forum again. So
Yeah, that's another thing about this forum that we do a little thing where our podcast here. You're all jerks for doing it. You're all jerks for being on there.
yeah, talk to your daughter about it. Like maybe
If you
not.
wonder if you're a jerk, you're a jerk if you wonder if you're a jerk.
Yeah.
The answer is yes, always.
Yeah. Two things though to say.
Yeah.
Two things to say is, I don't know if I've told you this, but I've joked about this before, is that I feel less oppressed dating a woman than I felt dating men because of the patriarchy and feeling like an object in the partnership. At least that's just my experiences. Not all men would be like that.
Sexist.
But in my experience, I literally feel less oppressed being with a woman than I have felt in my relationships with men.
But see, that's not because of the gender of the person. That has to do with the person. I think.
Well, I'm just saying it does have to do with the person, but it also has to do with the fact that because my friends in my generation is so accepting, then I have not personally experienced a lot of like people not supporting me, but I experienced more like oppression, like being called like the C word or something by a man. Like that was like literally more oppression and pain from like sexism than I have ever experienced.
Yeah.
Like I've never even directly experienced.
Because you dated a bunch of jerks.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that I personally have never even had many comments.
You're a jerk. You're a jerk.
Okay.
But
So
yeah.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. As a man, I'm gonna tell you, it's not fair to say that the difference is because I would say this. It's not fair to say that the difference is because of gender, and it's also not fair to your partner by not giving that person and their heart a little more credit for giving them for being what you need.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just
Because
saying.
you're almost saying to her, "Oh, I like you because you're a woman," not because of the person you are.
That's not it. I was just
Oh,
saying
that's
that
right.
I'm just saying that I've experienced more oppression from men
Yeah.
than
Oh,
I
that's
have personally experienced
That's a fact.
on the basis of being queer, because most people don't even acknowledge, like, unless you know me personally, people don't assume that I'm gay or anything when they first meet me.
Mhm.
So I'm able to hide. But anyway, also one other thing about that person is that I feel like people don't accept two women loving each other as like real love. They don't accept it as like romantic, which is a shame, because remember, you've even joked before in the past that lesbians are smart because men are stupid.
Yes.
I feel like, of course, lesbians know how to love their women. Okay, and obviously that is like sexist of me to make a judgment.
Right.
But like, why do people not recognize that as like real, like romantic love?
I don't know.
People view it as, oh, they're just friends, even if they say they accept it. So that's my other comment on that. But yeah, that person's a jerk.
I agree, Megan.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the perfect sound effect right now that I thought I had here. Here it is.
Are you queer? Probably.
Oh my God. People.
Are you
I feel
queer?
like-
Probably.
I feel like Family Guy is also funny, but like could get canceled for like their jokes.
Completely.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Are you queer? Probably.
Okay. Okay. So that was our fun game, everybody. It's called Are You a Jerk? Are we subdued tonight, or we just have everything on our minds going on? What's going on with us?
Yeah, I'm tired.
You're a jerk.
Okay. Do you have any more news stories?
No news story, but I did have another thought that I was going to say about Gen Z. I feel like, and this might be way wrong, I just like thought of this idea. is that I feel like Gen Z's brand of feminism involves a lot of like putting down other women and comparing yourself to other women, where a lot of like millennials, it was like, I'm a feminist. That means that I support other women. Like, you go, you're a girl boss. I'm going to vote for you, Hillary, because you're a woman. Like, there was like a lot of like sort of like sisterhood. And even if you look at Portlandia, a lot of the jokes about women and women first is like, well, we're women. Like, they were like very like, we're all women. I feel like Gen Z is more like, oh, well, you could be a woman and be a shitty person, like Hillary, for example. Or like they're like, oh, wow, just because you're a woman CEO doesn't mean that you're like a good person. You're still like capitalist. And I feel like, I don't know, I've just noticed a trend of a lot of like just cattiness and comparison.
I found it a lot in politics when I was a candidate. In fact, when I first ran for office, I don't talk about being a politician very much on these podcasts, but when I first ran for office, I ran against a woman. This woman had the belief, she was anti-choice and very much against any rights for gay and lesbians. But I didn't get the support of a lot of women's group because I was a man.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen today. I think that they would look at pro-choice and say that that's more important.
Well, and even, I even was a sponsor of equity pay and all this other stuff. But I think I ran into, I'm like, wait a minute, it doesn't make sense, Shouldn't we think about what person is best for the causes that help people? But I think you're right. I think it's just an evolution. I shouldn't get so mad at that.
Yeah.
It was just my generation and how quote feminists dealt with it,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, I just want to leave you with 10 protests that changed history. So all of you out there protesting, see if you remember any of these through your history class. Gandhi's Salt March.
No.
You know about Gandhi and Salt March?
I know who Gandhi is, but I don't know about that.
He did a march, inspired hundreds of Indians to flood the salt tax. He was arrested for his efforts, but the Salt March established him as a force to be reckoned with in the struggle against British colonizers.
Wait, let me also just say, I don't even know if this is true, but I've seen a lot of people on Twitter try and cancel Gandhi for being a sexual predator, which I don't know if that's true. But also, like, can we put things in context?
He did so many good things. You know who I really... I'm going to go on the line here because I don't think it's very popular nowadays. But I feel like I want to defend Thomas Jefferson, the slave owner.
Yeah.
Because he wrote the Declaration of Independence. This beautiful document with all the things we as a country should be aspiring to be.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are upset because he wrote it and we weren't that.
Yeah.
But if he never wrote it, then we never would aspire to be it. And we're still not there.
Yeah.
But I believe in that document. I believe in the Constitution. And I believe that we should aspire to live what those documents say we should be doing. They have the values and the principles we should be following. And he wrote that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't deserve a statue, but the Jefferson Memorial, for example, is something that remembers those principles. Oh, and also, I don't mind if you put on the thing that he was a slave owner.
Yeah.
This guy wasn't
like,
perfect.
let's learn from his example and be like, hey, this is how embedded it is.
Not even that he's a slave owner. He owned other people. That's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
It was a terrible time. And he fell short of the ideals that he talked to us about because he did that. Okay.
You know, another thing is that I've been reading this book about Carl Jung's life,
Mhm.
and apparently he had several affairs. And
Mhm.
like, part of me is like, oh man, but he's like kind of like my idol. And
Mhm.
like, I feel like looking back, and this is probably an unpopular opinion too, but like, men were like, well, marriages in general weren't necessarily for love. It was like, this makes sense.
Yeah,
or
it's a new
something.
concept.
And so I
100
feel
years
like,
old, maybe.
yeah, yeah. And I feel like a lot of people back then, it's like from looking at Carl Jung's life, for example, he like married for money. His wife was not interested in any of the things that he was interested in. And then like the affairs were like people that he met through like psychology stuff.
Mhm.
And it's like, obviously that's bad, but like we have to like also think about the time that people like did these things too.
Well, and
I don't
also you can think about the time and say, well, he shouldn't have done that. That was a
Yeah.
weakness. That was a weakness in him.
Yes, yes. And like people can have like recognize strengths.
Right. He
But
was really strong
also-
in this, and I'm learning from that. And he was weak in this, and I'm learning from that too.
I just don't like idolizing people as perfect.
Right.
Like, because it's not fair to anyone.
Right.
But anyway.
we lose the lesson of history if we do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So another protest was the storming of the Bastille in France. It overthrew the king, and Napoleon came through. The March
Mhm.
on Washington in 1963. That was a big thing for the
Mm.
civil rights movement. Selma to Montgomery walk. You know about that
Mm.
one, right?
Not, I think so. Yeah.
It was.
I need to watch that movie.
Yeah. Take Back the Night. That was started in 1970 to continue a banner for support around the world against violence against women. The marches are organized. They still do that. Tiananmen Square protest.
Did you know that Crystal's dad was there?
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The number of casualties in Tiananmen Square will likely never be known, but the massacre was captured by a famous photo of a single man facing off against a line of government tanks. And that was in
Wait, no, her grandpa, I think.
Wow.
Or wait, no, maybe her dad. I forget the.
It was in 1989. It could.
Oh, I think it was her dad.
Okay. South Africa's National Day of Protest in 1950. That started the movement against that Nelson Mandela led to stop apartheid. The Monday demonstrations in 1989. I don't know about this one. Oh, it's in Germany. Help peacefully protest the communist regime. That's when the Berlin Wall was down.
Mm.
The Orange Revolution in 2004, in the Ukraine, the Arab Spring in 2010. So I brought that up because I think it's interesting because a lot of people will be saying, why is there protests? What difference does it make? Well, they make a lot of difference, and they have, and that's what the folks that are protesting are trying to do. They're just trying to create change. And you protesters, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't throw a brick through a window. Don't do that. Don't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Don't use violence. Use nonviolence. It makes me happier. Any last words?
No, I think I'm good.
We talk about maybe too many. It's so funny. I do this podcast and then I do the one with the Droosh.
Mm-hmm.
One's really deep, and then one's with the Droosh. We talk about comic books.
Yeah. I just worry about stuff. So do you, right?
Yeah, I think more than anything else, it's nice talking to you, Megan.
Aw, I love you. There's a lot going on in the world, that's for sure.
Well, you helped me see it in a better way thanks to your view of your generation.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, love you.
Love you.
Generations Unite has been a KCTK production, produced by Megan Lavoda and Paul Lavoda. All rights reserved. For more information and content, email us at kctkradio@gmail.com.
Oh,